The most dangerous affair isn't always with another person. Sometimes it's with the intoxicating idea of a life unlived, a self unclaimed. Mine began not in a clandestine hotel room, but in the sterile aisle of a grocery store, under the hum of fluorescent lights, with the accidental brush of a stranger's hand. Welcome to the place where I share my stories. We build our lives on foundations of routine and unspoken compromises. But what happens when a tremor of unexpected connection threatens to bring it all crashing down? Before you witness the fallout, do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and maybe tell us in the comments. What was the moment you realized you were starving for something more? The Thursday morning light was a pale, apologetic smear across our kitchen, filtering through the linen curtains as if ashamed to intrude. I stood barefoot on the cold tiles, cradling a cup of weak coffee, not for the caffeine, but for the simple, desperate comfort of holding something warm in a life that had grown increasingly, almost unbearably, cold. The house was quiet, but it wasn't the peaceful quiet of shared contentment. It was the heavy, stagnant silence that settles when conversation has long since become a mere exchange of functional data. My husband, let's call him Arthur, a creature of meticulous habits and even more meticulous emotional containment, was finishing his oatmeal in the breakfast nook. The soft, precise scrape of his spoon against the ceramic bowl was a sound as predictable, as devoid of passion, as everything else about him, about us. He glanced up, a fleeting, almost imperceptible smile that never quite reached his distant blue eyes. "You okay, Eleanor?" he asked, the question a perfunctory tick, a line delivered from a script we both knew by heart. "Yeah, just thinking," I replied, my voice equally flat, my gaze fixed on nothing in particular. That was our rhythm, the sad, pathetic cadence of our shared yet utterly separate existences. Check-ins that skimmed the surface, never daring to break the fragile ice, never risking a plunge into the dark, turbulent waters beneath. No probing, no drowning. We weren't, by any conventional standard, broken. Nothing dramatic had ever occurred. We didn't argue, not anymore. The energy for genuine conflict had long since evaporated. He worked, I managed the house, we had routines. We even, sometimes, shared a brittle, hollow laughter that echoed meaninglessly in the vast, empty spaces of our lives. From the outside, we were the picture of enviable stability. And perhaps they were right. But stability, I had come to learn, has a taste all its own. It's bland, insipid. Like boiled rice without a single grain of salt. Arthur kissed my temple as he left, his lips dry, familiar, a reflex. I waited for the click of the front door, then exhaled, a breath held too long, released only in solitude. I wandered our home like a stranger, trailing fingers along furniture I dusted with a weary, almost resentful weakness. Everything in its place, everything as it should be. Except me. In the kitchen again, I stared at the refrigerator, not hungry, just searching to fill an internal void. That's when I saw it. A flyer for a local grocery delivery, taped beside a forgotten magnet. Functional, a QR code, a promise of convenience. I scanned it. I needed nothing, but I filled the virtual cart anyway. Milk, bananas, herbal tea I rarely drank. Delivery scheduled for the afternoon. An odd thrill, a decision unmarred by habit. The day passed in a blur of tidying rooms, already pristine. Around 3, the doorbell. I hesitated, then went to the side entrance. I wasn't sure what I expected. Certainly not him. He stood there in a plain navy hoodie and work pants, holding 2 paper bags. Not tall, not conventionally handsome, but an ease about him, a quiet confidence. He belonged. unlike me, always slightly misplaced. His hazel eyes met mine.
No hurry, no apology, just a steady gaze.
Delivery for... He glanced at the receipt. Eleanor, I guess. I nodded, voice lost, reached for a bag. Our fingers brushed, barely, but enough to jolt something deep within me, something I hadn't known had fallen asleep. He didn't pull his hand back immediately. He smiled, not a customer service smile. Softer, more curious. You read this? He asked, pointing to the Rilke paperback on the counter behind me. Sometimes, I managed. He nodded slowly as if cataloguing me, handed over the other bag. Have a good day. He left. The air where he'd stood still felt charged. I set the bags down. Groceries were just groceries. No secret note, yet I felt as if someone had just whispered a secret into my neck. What is it about an unexpected shared glance, a fleeting touch, that can unravel the carefully woven fabric of a life? Have you ever felt an entire world shift in such a small, almost invisible moment? That night, my bedtime rituals took on a new, almost reverent quality. I brushed my hair slower, applied lotion not out of habit, but with a tender care I hadn't shown myself in years. In the mirror, I saw not a wife ticking off another day, but someone waiting for what I didn't yet know. Arthur kissed me goodnight, asked about my day. Fine, I said. Lights out, the bed warm, our bodies separated by a familiar, yawning silence. He slept quickly, his breath steady beside me. I lay there, eyes wide in the darkness, my skin still tingling from a touch that should have meant nothing. Except it did. It had to. I replayed that moment at the door, his gaze, the fleeting brush of his fingers. Ridiculous, he was just a delivery guy. A momentary exchange, yet something inside me had shifted, not dramatically. Just a quiet, almost imperceptible tilt, like a picture frame hanging slightly, yet significantly, off-kilter. You don't notice it at first, but once you do, it's all you can ever see. Translated from internal monologue that was in Spanish in the original. And I had no idea what to do with that. This sudden sharp awareness, this unexpected quickening. I hadn't planned it, hadn't sought it. But when I saw his name, Michael, a different his, an echo from a past I thought buried, on my son Tom's phone at the sports club, heard that familiar deep voice filter from the gym doorway. My body knew it had been waiting. I feigned surprise when Tom mentioned Michael was his new coach. My son was late that day. Michael wasn't. He was there, alone, in a sweat-damp gray t-shirt, his dark hair disheveled, his eyes, those warm hazel pools I remembered with a shocking clarity, tensed for an instant upon seeing me. Not a casual hello. Recognition, a reckoning. He offered to wait with me until Tom arrived. We walked to the gym cafe, coffee, mine with milk, a shield. His, black, like the intensity of his gaze. The cup's heat did little against the chill emanating not from the room, but from him. He sat opposite, his gaze direct, honest, unsettlingly intimate. I felt utterly exposed. We feigned trivial talk. His university studies, a design project, a hiking trip. My replies were neutral, words like varnish on cracking wood. The silences between thrummed with a suspended electric tension. He didn't mention Arthur. He didn't mention Tom. For those moments, our world condensed to 2 coffees and the small table between us. Outside, the sudden sun was a physical blow. I paused, blinded. He instinctively raised a hand, not touching, merely shielding my eyes. The simple gesture dislodged something vital within me. We descended the steps. Then, without conscious thought, I stopped. Or perhaps he did. The world froze. I turned, looked at him, and in that infinitesimal space between one ragged breath and the next, his lips found mine. Not sweet, not careful, direct, urgent. Consuming, filled with the brutal honesty of two souls who could no longer sustain the lie of distance. I felt his fingers, light as a whisper, on my back. My own hands lost. Immobile, I let him kiss me. Then, with a sigh that was part surrender, part triumph, I responded. Something deep within me had been waiting, starving, for precisely that contact, that mouth, that decision, that man. It lasted no longer than a changing traffic light, yet it was an eternity. Enough. We separated in a charged silence. His eyes, wide, questioning, were fixed on mine. No apologies, no justifications. Only that searing gaze, demanding I not deny what had just transpired. I walked to my car, legs trembling, rested my burning forehead against the cool steering wheel. My breath came in shallow gasps, my heart a painful drumbeat. The question wasn't why I had done it. The real question was why. Why in God's name I didn't feel a single shred of guilt. The drive back, the world was altered, its textures denser, more vibrant. Home, the kitchen greeted me with its usual scent of old coffee and stale toast. Arthur wasn't there. I sat at the table, my hands, still trembling, resting on the familiar floral chintz. That night, the shower was a long, slow ritual, not for cleanliness, for necessity. I needed to feel the hot water on every inch of my newly awakened skin. I closed my eyes under the cleansing torrent, letting the memory of his kiss mingle with the steam. It wasn't the kiss itself that perturbed me. It was what it had unleashed, the consciousness of my own skin, my own flesh, of all that had lain dormant for so many barren years. Wrapped in a towel, I went to my bedroom, opened a drawer, and took out the black lace lingerie. Bought on an impulse years ago, never worn. A promise gathering dust. I put it on slowly, carefully, observed my reflection. Not young, hips not firm, breasts not high, but something vital still resided within me, something that could still provoke desire. I had seen it in his eyes. I had felt it in his mouth. I entered the silent, darkened bedroom. Arthur, as always, was deeply asleep. I lay beside him, unmoving, unspeaking. On my skin still, the phantom sensation of other lips. I felt no remorse. I felt life, everything. All at once. This ghost of a past encounter, this unexpected collision with Michael, did it merely underscore the existing emptiness, or did it actively carve out new spaces of longing? How many forgotten selves lie dormant within us, waiting for an accidental spark to bring them roaring back to life? Then, days later, another Thursday, another ordinary moment shattered. The delivery man, let's call him Ben for the name on that first crumpled receipt, was in my kitchen again, this time with a prearranged, deliberately solitary order of that same herbal tea. He'd put the small paper bag down, but lingered, that almost smile playing on his lips. He drew closer. Not a full step, just enough. The air crackled. "You know," he said slowly, his voice a deliberate, hypnotic caress, "I really should go." "You should," I replied, my own voice a mere echo. Neither of us moved. He tilted his head slightly, his hazel eyes fixed on mine. I felt his skin's heat before his lips. The kiss, soft, deliberate. He kissed like someone who knew how.
Not rushed, demanding. Just present. I don't remember closing my eyes. I remember his mouth's texture. The contrast between the rough skin of his palm and the silk of my cheek when he touched me. Warmth pulsed through my chest. Not lust. Not yet, but longing. Recognition. Resurrection. It ended quickly. A breath. Over. He stepped back. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice a low rumble. "Don't be." He nodded then, walked to the door, paused, opened it, and was gone. I stood in the kitchen, the tea now cold in my hand, every cell in my body incandescent. The silence he left behind was unbearable. I sank to the floor, knees to my chest, the hem of my shirt rising, cool air on my skin. My nipples tightened, my stomach fluttered, my lips still tingled. That night, when Richard came home, I was a facade of normalcy. Hair brushed, shirt changed. He kissed my cheek, asked about my day. "Nothing much," I lied. He noticed nothing. We watched a movie. He dozed off. I watched him sleep, peaceful, trusting. I turned off the TV, walked to the bedroom, undressed slowly, stood before the mirror. My shirt dropped. I traced my lips, I remembered. It wasn't love. It wasn't yet betrayal, not in the way the world defined it, but I knew now what it felt like to want. And more intoxicatingly, to be wanted back. The days that followed were like wading through deep, viscous water, slow, distorted, far too quiet. My world had tilted. I functioned, cleaned, folded, answered emails, watered plants, hands on autopilot, thoughts elsewhere. The kiss hadn't destroyed my life, not yet, but it had unsettled my very foundation. 15 years, no other kiss. My marriage wasn't cold, just not intimate. I'd convinced myself that was fine, that safety replaced fire. Now I felt like an imposter. I tried to be present when Richard spoke. His new project, a trip, his mother's arthritis. I nodded, smiled when expected. Dinner, another documentary. He reached for my hand. I didn't pull away, but my fingers stayed limp. He noticed. The silence after was loaded. That evening, him working in the study, I stood in the hallway, listening to the clacking keys, his real soundtrack. I retreated to the bedroom, sleep elusive. My body restless, skin alert. Not desire as imagined. Deeper, need to feel real, seen. Next morning, didn't check the delivery app. Better, opened fridge, untouched milk, pull in stomach. Ben had touched that carton. Still. Late that afternoon, Richard came home early. Wine, a hopeful smile. Thought we could go out tonight. A proposal. I agreed. Dressed carefully, navy silk blouse, gold earrings. He looked up, smiled genuinely. "You look beautiful." The compliment landed strangely. Too late, familiar Italian restaurant, dim lights, candles, early years place. Didn't need menus, always ordered same, watched him, still handsome. New lines, more gray, still man chosen. Held hand in hospital waits, unpacked boxes, remembered coffee. But did he see me? We ate, spoke safe topics. His work, a friend's job. He made an effort. I did too. Something missing, absence, waiting for dessert. He looked at me long. "You've been somewhere else lately, Eleanor." I looked down. "I don't know what you mean." He smiled sadly. "I think you do, Terence." Truthful, didn't reply. Drive home, city blur. Hands folded, his on wheel, home, opened my door. Hands brushed,
No warmth, nothing. Bed early, kissed me, responded lightly. Pressed closer, searching, didn't pull away, didn't reach back. After he slept, lay awake, sadness, craving, song remembered, can't hum. Wanted to want him. Returned to safe simplicity. Couldn't unknow body's answer.
Couldn't forget feeling alive, stranger's lips, not love, not infatuation.
Just beginning of something unimagined. Knew it wouldn't end here. This slow drift, this quiet ache. Is it the death of a marriage or the painful birth of a new self? When the familiar becomes a cage, how do you find the courage to seek the key, even if it means facing the terrifying unknown? This channel explores these treacherous paths. We invite your thoughts. I didn't intend to see Ben again. Not that week. The kiss, an impulse, I told myself. Clung to that narrative, busied myself, errands, baked, reorganized. Yet in quiet spaces he returned, not fantasy, a presence behind my ribs. 4 days, avoided the app, proud, went to the store myself. At checkout, clerk smiled, nodded absently. He'd settled deeper, not in schedule habits. In the space I hadn't realized empty. 5th day, saw him, chance. Walking from florist, yellow tulips an impulse, their brightness a fleeting lift. Sky silvery, streets quiet. Took long way. Turned left, not right, past brick homes, ivy, there. Outside a small cafe, never noticed. No uniform, gray t-shirt, jeans, book coffee. Leaning back, foot tapping. Unprepared, unposed, heat up spine, familiar. Slowed, hadn't seen me, debated walking past. Something stronger pulled, stopped. You read poetry? Looked up. Surprise, then softer. Sometimes, closing book. You stalking me, Eleanor? Coincidence, lied. Didn't know cafe existed. Knew, good espresso. Gestured to empty chair. Want to sit? Already moving.
Sat, flowers in lap. Silence, watchful.
Charged. Was wondering if I'd see you again, he said. You said you didn't usually ask people about poetry? I countered.
Assumed that meant you don't usually kiss them either, laughed softly. Fair point. Pause, leaned slightly.
Didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. Shook head, too quickly. You didn't? Looked carefully, nodded to himself, leaned back. We talked, longer, his schedule, other job. Book. Short stories. Told him I used to write. Scraps in notebooks. Conversation drifted, quiet, glanced at sky. Looks like rain, followed gaze. Yeah, probably head out. Neither moved. Looked again, more serious. This isn't just a thing, is it, Eleanor? Delivery, kiss. Cafe, the ache. I don't know what it is, I admitted. But I think about it, more than I should. Nodded slowly, stood. Rose, tulips armor. Wasn't planning to run into you, smiled. Maybe you weren't running. Walked away, stood, then home. Tulips opening, house colder, vase, flowers on kitchen table. Bright contradiction. Night, didn't mention cafe. Told Richard walked, bought flowers. Liked them, poured wine, talked of his mother, nodded. Responded, kissed Nick absent-mindedly, didn't register. Later, mirror, towel wrapped, stared at my eyes. When had I become a stranger to myself? Didn't want to hurt anyone, not planning affair, no master plot. Something inside unfastened, enough to shift air. Next morning, opened delivery app. Didn't order, but looked. stayed on screen far longer than needed. Morning, quiet. Richard packing, weekend trip to mother. Watched from doorway, coffee cooling. Kissed cheek, reminded about thermostat, nodded, door closed. House still, fingertips tingled, didn't plan to call Ben. Idea settled, app on phone opened. Ordered one item, tea. I never drank. Delivery early afternoon, stood before closet. Everything wrong. Silk slip, loose cardigan, barefoot. Doorbell, no jump, open side entrance. Him, no uniform, black t-shirt, jeans, delivery bag. Eyes met, held, said nothing, stepped inside. Closed door, latch clicking, air dense. Wasn't sure you'd actually call, voice low. I didn't. I answered. I just ordered tea. He smiled barely. Set bag on counter, didn't step away. Body turned toward me. I missed seeing you. Didn't answer. Walked past, gestured to hallway. He followed. Guest room, untouched. Sheets crisp, sat on bed edge, stood in doorway, then came closer. Silence stretched, hand reaching for mine, letting him. Leaning in, reading room, my breath, tilt of face. Kiss different, not soft, searching, certain. Mouth met mine, decision made, body responded, hand in hair, other at waist. Everything narrowed, didn't stop him, didn't want to. His weight, warmth, realness. Just breath, skin, muscle. Life, no words, room held us. No declarations, just breath mingling, mattress creaking, ended. Stayed side by side, not quite touching, watched light shift. Turned head. This isn't fair to you, he said, or to him. Nodded, didn't ask him to leave. Eventually stood, adjusted shirt, sat on bed edge, put shoes on. Normalcy, a slap. Looked once more, disappeared. House still, lay on bed, no cry. No guilt. Low, persistent ache. Not regret. Relief. Weight of crossing something irreversible. Stood. Sheets wrinkled. Smoothed them, remade bed. Evening, Richard called. Day quiet. Long drive, mother's medication. Agreed to visit. Voice even. Hung up, long shower, scrubbed. Didn't feel cleaner, walked barefoot, lights dimmed, kitchen, tea bag on counter. Didn't put away, didn't drink. Stood staring, silence folding. More familiar, more permanent. Deep in chest, quiet knowledge. Would see him again. Not because I planned. Because now, couldn't not. The air inside the house had changed. A different texture. Felt it mornings, quiet charge, like moments before storm. After guest room, thought ache might settle. Intensified, more aware of myself, expected to hear from him. Days passed. He didn't come. Checked app, pretending. Added items, deleted. Never ordered, didn't want to chase. Waited 4 days. 5th, delivery notification. Same service. Not my account. His name, another address, stared at screen. Should have been end. Wasn't. New profile. Neighbor's address, house usually vacant. Scheduled delivery, same afternoon, his route. Stupid. Reckless. Hands moved like someone else's. Dressed with intention. Simple dress, soft cotton, neckline dipping, hair loose, lips bare. Walked to house early. Stood on porch corner, doorbell cracked, paint peeling, matching me. He turned corner, saw me. Stride shifted,
Recognition. Eyes met, didn't flinch.
Should have known. Stepping closer. Didn't know what else to do. Jaw tightened. Restraint.
Handed paper bag, fingers brushing, familiar current.
Haven't stopped thinking about you, I said quietly, looked down, then up. Thought maybe you regretted it.
Overstepped.
You didn't. Exhaled, pause. Didn't come back because I didn't want to make it worse. For you. It's already worse, I replied. Pretending doesn't fix anything. Stood there, two people, wrong place, time.
Doing something more honest, reached up, touched my face, barely, testing if real. Thumb traced cheekbone, small gesture, hit harder than kiss. Not lust, performance. Longing, paired to purest, neither moved forward. Line erased, he left, didn't watch. Sat on porch steps, bag clutched. Hour. Later, bathroom mirror. Face same, but not. Something behind eyes, unspoken knowledge. Richard returned from trip. Tired, talkative, hugged, held longer. Maybe sensed something. Ate leftovers. Poured wine. Listened. Smiled once. You seem different. Calmer. Maybe I just missed you. Not lie. Missed him. His presence, certainty, version of me that found comfort, reached for hand. Let him hold it. Later, in bed, turned to me. Touched waist. Hands familiar. Let him move closer. Mouth find mine. Responded. Not guilt, obligation. Deep, confused craving to feel something anchor me. But even in heat, hollowness. Not because of him, because of what I now knew existed outside. Contrast too sharp. Afterward, he slept, arm across stomach, lay still, eyes wide. Not disgusted, angry, numb, divided, knew this wasn't passing. Fracture, no longer sure which side. Morning, made breakfast. Richard smiled, read news, everything looked same. Opened fridge. Milk, there in corner, the tea. Still unopened, untouched, a question not ready to answer. Days unfolded with forced normalcy. House clean, meals warm, voice steady, functioning. Composed, whole. Inside, a fog of memory, hesitation. Nothing anchored, conversations, performances, hadn't seen him. Told myself it was for the best. Space needed, temporary infatuation. Heat, mistaken for connection. Logic didn't dull ache. Resisted app. Sometimes opened, feigning curiosity. Never ordered, unsure what I waited for. Fourth day snapped, quietly. Bathroom mirror, sleepless. Pale face, dark eye circles, bruises from thoughts, spat foam, rinsed. Bedroom, lingerie drawer. Not cotton, silks, lace, chose dark red. Color felt honest, dressed slowly, sweater jeans over. Didn't tell Richard, walked aimlessly, feet new. Past cafe, closed, past apartments, kept walking. Him. Low stone wall outside laundromat, scrolling phone, leg bouncing. No uniform, bag. Just him. Casual, ordinary, devastatingly real. Didn't hesitate. Crossed street, approached slowly, footsteps pulling attention. Eyes met, he stood. You okay? Didn't answer, chest tight. Thought maybe I should stop waiting, I said. Thought you had. Honesty cracked something, Looked long, quietly. Want to walk? Nodded.
Moved without talking, steps in rhythm, blocks unnoticed, only beside him. Small clearing, forgotten corner, narrow bench. Sat. Silence. Waiting. Told myself I wouldn't push, he said. This wasn't mine to decide. Didn't think I'd feel this, I said. Not again. Not like this. Nodded, said nothing. Don't know what this is, I continued. No name. Not just sex. Attention. Something unfelt so long. Didn't know I was missing it. I see you, he said simply. 3 words. Landed like stone in water, that was it. Not adored. Seen. Woman with edges. Hunger. Silence needing listening. No kiss, touch. Pull between us physical. Stood. Should get back. Of course. No goodbye. Walked home slower. Front door, hand lingered. Inside, everything built. Safe. Familiar. Stepping inside felt like leaving something Richard in kitchen. Started dinner, pasta, smiled. Missed you this afternoon. Went for a walk. You okay? Just needed some air. Nodded. Sat at table, he stirred sauce. Good man. Steady, but he didn't see me, not version I'd become. Loved idea of who I had been. After dinner, washed dishes, kissed cheek. Thanked me. Study, stood in kitchen long. Hands wet, walked to front door, opened. Top step, small paper bag. No name, note. Folded neatly. Hands trembled. Inside single item, same tea. Unopened, stood in doorway, bag clutched, night air a question. Didn't sleep. Richard's arm draped, breathing steady. Stared at ceiling, shadows crawling. Paper bag on counter, hadn't opened tea, no note. Gesture louder, hadn't forgotten, remembered. Exact brand moment, weight of contact, brought it back, not with expectation. Clarity. He knew. Now I did too. Morning. Moved slowly. Showered, dressed, made coffee. Didn't speak much. Richard noticed. Something wrong? No, just tired. Nodded, sipped, work story. Laughed. Didn't press. After he left, sat at kitchen table. Tea still on counter, unopened. Fingers tapped rhythm. Cliff edge, doorbell midday. Not him. Neighbor, package, handed over, small talk. Blood didn't slow. Pulse thudded. Every sound, footstep, shadow could be him or not. Equal weight. Evening, exhausted house tasks. Richard home early. Wine, groceries, look unseen. Thought maybe we could cook together. Nodded, chopped, stirred, kitchen dance. Jokes, smiled. Tucked hair behind ear, fingers lingered. Breath caught, dining room candle. Wine. How you been feeling lately? Real intention, stared. Been thinking a lot. About? About how we got here. Fork down. Are you unhappy? No, not exactly. Then what is it? Looked at hands. I feel invisible. Didn't speak, studied me. I didn't know. Voice softer. Didn't either, not until recently. Pause. Is there someone else? Lifted eyes. Didn't answer, nodded once, suspected. Stood slowly, living room, another glass, followed. Never wanted to hurt you. I know,
He did know. Not angry. Heartbroken, quiet, heavy. No fight. Sat, understanding life changed. Later in bed, reached for me. Gently, let him kiss, touch. Hands move, remembering map. Responded. Not guilt, desire. Need to feel something connect. But even as body pressed, felt absence. His love, history, not hunger, wonder. Not electricity of being seen as more than safe. Kissed shoulder, fell asleep. Lay awake. Dark, thoughts to tea. Porch, hands. Guest room, bench, I see you. New story not over. Knew wasn't going back to pretending. Morning, quiet, pale light. Richard made coffee. 2 mugs. Ritual. He tried to smile. I did too. Smile not bridge, curtain. Drank in silence, fingers brushed. Didn't move away. Didn't linger. Ordinary, restrained. Unrecognizable. After breakfast, dressed for work. Followed to door. Habit. He paused. Hand on doorknob. Looked longer. Call me if you want to talk. Nodded. Door closed. Silence returned. Dense. Heavy. Paper bag on counter. Object. Symbol. Tea container. Marker of unraveling. Picked up countless times. Never opened. Invitation. Accusation. Quiet echo of choice made. Window. Sky white. Low. Colorless cloud. Everything suspended. Not moving forward. Falling back. Just still. Didn't know if I wanted Ben back. Didn't know if I could bear it if he did. Knew this. If he showed up, wouldn't close door. Backyard, patio stones damp. Cardigan tight. Bench under old tree. Hadn't come out here in months. Chairs crooked. Sat, cold seeping. Welcomed it. Needed something concrete? 15 minutes, maybe more. Sat, surrounded by ordinary life. Footsteps, slow rhythm, gravel path, other side of gate. Didn't turn. Closed eyes. One breath. Opened. He stood just outside. No delivery bag, uniform, black jacket. Hands in pockets, shoulders tense, eyes found mine. Neither moved. Didn't open gate. Tried to stay away, he said. Wanted to leave this alone. Stood. Didn't move toward him. Voice quiet, steady. But you didn't, shook head. Because I can't. Looked exhausted. Restraint. Wanting. Holding back. Don't know what this is, I said. Not here to make promises I can't keep. Don't want promises. Just needed to know you still felt it. Slow step forward. Another. Opposite sides of gate, inches apart. Reached for latch. Opened. Not invitation. Understanding. Stepped in. Didn't touch. Walked to bench. Sat side by side, facing nothing. Felt his presence. Heat of arm-warming air. Breath synchronized. Don't know where this ends. Neither do I. Honesty, fragile, rare. First time, no need to define. Sat long, no kiss, speak. Silence not loaded. Shared, stood. Didn't stop him, didn't linger. Left. Stayed outside. Wind picked up. Rustling leaves. Walked inside slowly. Hand trailing doorway. House looked same. Didn't feel like returning. Just passing through, tea on counter. Walked toward it. Unfolded bag, last time. Pulled out box, opened.
Hands steady. Boiled water. Watched steam rise.
Placed bag in mug. Poured, waited, color deepened, scent lifted. Floral, warm, subtle, sat at table, lifted cup. Took a sip. First time in months, didn't flinch. Not healed. Not sure, but not afraid anymore, not of him. Not of silence. Not of myself. This quiet cup of tea. This fragile truce with longing. Is it an ending or a different kind of beginning?
When the foundations of a life crack, can you rebuild on the same ground, or must you seek new territory entirely? Together, we delve into these questions. What would you do? Subscribe, share your thoughts, and join the conversation. Your story matters.